shut off your cell phones and join us in the pledge. Commissioner Albertson.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So, any additions or deletions? I know we have a couple.
I have a couple of additions. I have an income survey, scope of work and budget, Umpqua Valley letter of engagement, Umpqua Valley financial contract, and a Hunter's Olcc permit.
Alright, first order of business is Sherry Davis, MOU with New Beginnings. Is Sherry actually coming today? Sherry, sorry. Sherry. Is Sherry coming today?
She was supposed to, but I can go over it with you if you want. She's supposed to be here at 9, but
that's fine. We can hold off.
okay.
I just didn't know if she wasn't coming down, we might as well just go ahead with it. But then the next item is Kevin Hawk, the knuckle boom purchase.
Good morning.
Good morning, Jeff.
Hopefully in front of you is the recommended motion and language and a copy of what we're actually buying. This is a used knuckle boom to be utilized in the retrofit of a supply truck in support of our line painting program. We talked about it at the last meeting, I believe in Christmas Valley. This knuckle boom will go on a truck, that cabin chassis truck that we already have, and it is for sale locally through McLean Trucking. I put on there for single source contract rule number 8. I did not hear anything back from Jim, but I usually don't unless it is something not.
I seen that you sent the message.
Do you guys have any questions on it or what we plan to do with it? We kind of have all talked about it. I talked about it in the last meeting as well.
Just loading the deeds, new paint machine.
We have to have some type of facility to load our paint totes and our bead bags, which range from 24 or 2,500 pounds to 52 to 5,400 pounds. And we have to have a supply truck with the paint crew. The truck that we're going to utilize and retrofit already has aero board on, caution board, and all those things, and it's the old paint truck, and its components to sell or surplus aren't worth anything in this market, so we're retroing it this way. And we were able to find this knuckle boom local, and it is in like new condition. So $9,000.
Yep.
That's huge.
Yep. But yeah, the only other thing I had was the same thing we talked about on the phone yesterday, was whether or not Jim was good with the single source rule number 8. And so I'm guessing he's good with it. Either way, I think it applies. So.
Well, he would have gotten back to me if it wouldn't have been. In review of other used items or how do I want to say, like unique type niche pieces of equipment. That's how they've been documented before for the sale. So.
Okay. Yeah.
And then I just included you guys with the what do you call it, boilerplate language off of their website. Because we won't get any information with it as it's a used piece, but then if you go on National Crane, there is a lot of information on them, but that's the model number. So
Okay.
and weight requirements, it does meet all those things. We took the mechanics and we reviewed all that, so that we're sure we're not putting a piece of equipment on a truck that can't be used. So we've done all that research.
Sounds good to me. Perfect. Do you have any other road updates real quick?
We should be finishing up the shoulders on Christmas Valley Highway, today, I hope. We started, so that's, 40 to 84 miles of shoulders we put on in 8 days. And we will have zeroed out our agreement to date with the BLM for the trade of servicing their, I call them recreational routes, they're routes that lead to those higher recreational destinations for them that we have an agreement with, and they made material for us. So we were able to utilize all that, and we don't have a dollar cost in buying all that material. And we were able to use a lot of the material that was already laid there, so.
Sounds good.
And then next week the end of this week, we'll start cutting the cattle guards. There's 5 cattle guards to remove and backfill. We're gonna put drainage in those so that in the event that they were also dual purposed for water runoff, that'll still be possible. And I should be able to start getting blacktop at the end of next week to start patching them back in.
Nice.
The herbicide program started yesterday. I guess I'll just mention this for the herbicide program's sake. There are some misconceptions about a spray permit, spray permit in Lake County being good for the life of it. And that's not accurate. They are yearly. I mention that now in the public meeting so that maybe somebody hears it. We have a lot of people who go buy a 5-cent no spray tag and put it up on their corner post, and that doesn't cut it. We have to manage the vegetation in our right of way. So that started yesterday,
Sounds good.
and that's what we're doing.
Alright, thank you. Yeah, so I've done this, nothing doing tomorrow. Sheree, good morning, how are you?
Good morning, good, how are you guys?
Good. So we have the MOU with New Beginnings.
Yes. Just want me to give you a rundown?
Yeah, sure, if you will, just on the memorandum itself.
Okay. So the basic purpose of this would be to partner with the New Beginnings Crisis Center in Christmas Valley to provide some video access to victims and survivors up there, witnesses, people that we need access to at the DA's office. I worked with Josh, our IT guy, and we came up with an idea to purchase an iPad, for one for the DA's office and one that will be kept at New Beginnings, so that people in Christmas Valley that need to come in and would normally have to travel in to testify at grand jury or meet with me, attend hearings, those sorts of things, could just go to New Beginnings, access the iPad, the video function on the iPad, and then connect to our iPad here, and we would have access to those sorts of things. With COVID especially, it's been difficult for people to get here, and we were seeing a lot of the need to do grand jury testimony. Our grand jury is at 8 o'clock in the morning. It's a hardship for people in Christmas Valley to drive here that early in the morning and be here in time for grand jury. So we were using the video's capabilities a lot, but we were worried about security access. So with Josh's help, we came up with the idea of the iPads. My grant allows for this to happen, and so I went over that with my grant fund coordinator. And so the only thing that I was unsure about was we would need to have cellular service on the Christmas Valley iPad, so that Carrie could take it to a person who doesn't have a vehicle or something to get to the crisis center. She could drive the iPad out to people. We could also do I-documents, fill out restraining orders, protective orders, and that sort of thing, and just file them with the court. Carrie could take those right directly to somebody, fill those out, and get them filed with the court. It'll make her job that she already does easier. And I liked the partnering with the New Beginnings because I think it's helpful to connect people with the face that's in Christmas Valley that does crisis services. So a lot of the times people that I work with in Christmas Valley don't necessarily connect with Carrie at the crisis center, but this will give her an opportunity to have some FaceTime with people that maybe normally wouldn't come into contact with her.
Right.
So
No, yeah,
that's kind of where we're at.
I think it's a great idea. It's good.
I kind of like the technology is kind of going towards video stuff anyway. All our meetings and things are on video and Zoom. I'm hoping to be able to connect people with telehealth services to be able to do counseling with the iPad. They could come into Carrie's office and have an hour, with a counselor over video. So those are some things that we'll work on together if we have the technology.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah, that's, we'll act on it tomorrow then.
Okay,
If there's nothing else.
no, thank you very much.
The only question I have is, did Jim Bailey look over your memorandum?
I believe so. I think Melanie sent it to him.
Copy that?
All right, thank you guys.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Uh,
I'll make sure you know when I do them on there.
Next item, Ann.
Good morning.
Budget resolutions.
Yes, 2020-11. It's for the landfill. So we've made a lot of decisions recently that affect the landfill and finances, but hadn't done the budget work to appropriate those dollars. So significant things out there this year that you guys acted on, the digging the new cell and covering with contract, significant equipment maintenance on the compactor, and then the purchase of the skid steer. So all of those things affected this budget significantly.
Yeah.
I guess the good news in this landfill operation is it's getting there, and this requires an additional $50,000 from general fund, and I think in the grand scheme of things, that's probably good news compared to what general fund might have been on the hook for
What we were projecting.
in total, yes. And so this brings the general fund contribution to $225,000. And like we were just looking at, the revenues at the landfill can sustain normal everyday operations without general fund support. But anytime there's significant equipment issues, purchases, even way out of the ordinary engineering costs or work, general fund's there to help out unless we change fees out there. And that's kind of the story you guys have been hearing for years. So this resolution increases the general fund transfer. It increases capital outlay to accommodate the purchase of the skid steer.
Yeah.
It increases materials and services to accommodate the equipment maintenance of the compactor. And like I said, the reason general fund doesn't have to absorb all of those additional costs is because there have been personnel changes. So salaries can decrease $40,000, and then there's also contingency dollars available in the budget of $17,200.
Right, and that's been reduced to $29.
Yes. Okay. So hopeful that now maybe operations can just kind of be standard for a period of time, and then revenues will be able to sustain it, and then the typical general fund contribution that's been in place for years can sustain the capital purchase loan and then the landfill closure
Right.
support.
So our revenues come up 50,000 too.
And the total revenues.
Yeah, because of that general fund contribution.
Yeah, it's showing the 50,000 from the general fund
Mhm.
in the revenues. But like you stated, we were projecting a lot more, or a higher contribution.
I just can't believe that we only put $7,500 down for maintenance.
Oops, yeah.
For equipment maintenance?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to make sure we change that this budget cycle so we don't.
We've had a few other things going on though this year that maybe we weren't fully anticipating, but hopefully that number won't be a requirement going forward in the years to come.
Yeah, but
I mean, we still need to,
that's way low.
no,
I
yeah,
didn't
no, 7,500 is awfully
I
low.
didn't catch that before, but, oh,
Yeah, it's not much to shake a stick at. Let alone repair it.
Not when it comes to equipment.
Yeah, not the equipment that we have out there.
Yeah. Going once, going twice,
Do we-
can we sell it? So.
Yeah. Do you have any other questions on this resolution? Yeah.
No.
Pretty sure. We can act on that tomorrow then. Or were you looking for an adoption of this resolution?
No.
Does it say that?
Okay, and then I have the addition of the Aqua Valley Financial Group, our auditors. They got the letter of engagement to me just yesterday and then the contract. This is for the June 30th, 2021 audit. So the first letter of engagement is standard. This kind of outlines what they're responsible for, what they look at, and what we're responsible for. So.
This is with who?
Umpqua Valley
Umpqua.
Financial, this is our auditors that, I think this gets us into our third year with them. And then the second, and it requires both management signature and governance signature. So Jay and I have typically been signing off as management and then we need a governing body signature on that statement. And then the second document from them is the contract for this audit, which is a fee not to exceed $36,500. They put plus $2,200 for travel. Last year they did not travel because of COVID. We'll see what happens this year. And then they state in here if a single audit is not necessary, the fee would decrease $2,000. We will have a single audit. The single audit is a federal requirement of any dollars over $750,000, which we will have that.
Okay.
Any questions on
and
that?
last year was their first year for us, right?
Last year was our second year with them. They actually had traveled here the very first year,
Oh, yeah,
they
yeah.
were here. Okay, and then they did not travel here last year.
What if?
There's a lot of ability with them to upload documents to their portal online, which actually kind of speeds up the process. And now with our new software, we provided them a login. And they use Tyler Technologies software for a lot of their other entities, school districts, other municipalities, and they're like, oh yeah, we know how to get in there and run your trial
So they
balance.
don't even have to ask you for specific documents, they can go in there and find it.
Yeah, certain things. They still will ask us, obviously, for certain documentation as well, but that ability we're hoping kind of streamlines that. I mean, when they would come on site, they'd be here a whole week and literally files and binders and paperwork everywhere. Yeah, and so, but our software, the ability for them to log in, but also now that we're scanning things in, that's going to speed up that whole audit process in our opinion, so.
Okay.
Perfect.
Thank you.
So the contract,
Yeah, that's that. It's the back part of that engagement letter. It says quick 2-page contract. And it states the not to exceed fee of $36,500 plus that travel.
So it's virtually the same contract as we had last time.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
alright? Right, next up, David Berman, Goose Lake Railway contract for the Christie grant.
Good morning. As you know, we're off and running with our Christie grant on the railroad. We're got our letters received. Goose Lake Rail will be doing most of the work for our grant construction for all the repairs and all that. Well, to be in compliance, we got to be in a full contract with our contractor, Goose Lake Rail. He's the one that's gonna be doing the work. So, you should have in front of you the contract. It's pretty much a standard contract agreement that we do with all contractors with Lake County. So I need, to get this in place and so we can get moving forward on our grant on the construction.
Okay.
With the FRA. The FRA requires us.
Should we act on that today or tomorrow's fine? I didn't know if we wanted to.
Is that your phone?
Silence isn't so silent.
Just to add to that, the reason that we can, this is kind of FRA's standard practice. If you have a contractor and operator working on the line, they allow for that operator to do the work. I guess this is kind of a little bit more standard than what we're used to. Amtrak does a lot of their repair work on rail lines, and so instead of doing a different contractor process, this is allowable.
Well, we did it with the Regional Solution Grant. We've done it with another grant that we had with them. They do the work because they're capable of doing it.
And they have the people that
They
are
have
here.
people that have the tools to do it.
They're doing it through that California grant too, right?
Yes.
So,
Yeah, it is pretty common with railroads.
I'm good with it.
Yep.
I don't have no questions. Gotta get it going. It'd be nice to start moving on that. Alright,
All right, thank you.
yeah, thank you, Dave. Make it easy. OHA agreement number 166046, ratification. Is this? Which one? Oh, this is the one that we forgot to ratify at the last meeting.
we talked about it.
Yeah, we did. We talked about it and we got distracted with the public comments. I wasn't paying attention, my bad on that. So I think I may actually have 2 copies of it. Did you get a?
I got to.
Yeah, I'm good with it. And we should probably just go ahead and ratify that today then, because I've looked over it several times before. This way, Francie, kind of stop worrying about it too, so.
So do you want me to make a motion?
Yeah, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept the OHA agreement number 166046 ratification.
Second, and with that second, this is a little different, I haven't had this before, without a third commission right here. Any objection? Obviously there's not, we'll go ahead and ratify that. Motion's approved. Thank you.
Did you guys both say aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah, I told you. It's
We're going
just,
to do it
it was different. No, I'm kidding. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Very good.
There we go. We got her.
Back on track. So then the next one up is the Hunter's OLCC permit. So this came in late last night, and this is for the medicine room that they're putting in over there, and they've got everything taken care of through OLCC. They've been in touch with the sheriff and everything already, so they're just looking for stamp of approval from us. Is there anything else that they had to share on that, or?
It's for a restaurant and bar in their lounge.
All right, any questions? All right, we'll act on that tomorrow. Next up, provider service agreement, Melanie.
So I have a couple of provider service agreements for my different grants for special transportation that allocates funds to each provider. I need an agreement with each of them individually. So it just kind of shores up their expectations and they can build their budgets on the available funding that we were awarded. And then I will have those grants before you probably at the next meeting from ODOT.
Okay.
They have a board meeting, I think this week or next week, I can't remember. And then they should have, so then they should have our agreements out soon.
All right. And Jim Bailey's seen this and everything?
Absolutely.
Perfect. Figured you did. Alrighty, we'll act on that tomorrow too. Pretty straightforward. Last up, income survey, scope of work and budget. That's with the Coast Valley Water and Library Districts. So are you planning on doing two of these? Do they have to be separate, the income survey?
No.
Okay, so they
Well,
can't-
there are different stipulations based on the projects, but they're going to try to do them concurrently. They have a different sample. If you read the scope of work, there's a different sample needed for each project, but some of it overlaps, so they're going to try to do them both at the same time. And I added this because I'm hoping I can submit my applications this fall, which I can do if this is done. And then this demographic survey is good for 5 years. So I can use this same survey for the engineering application, and then in the spring I can do an application for materials and services and work construction. I'm hoping, best case scenario, Christmas Valley gets water infrastructure funding from the ARPA money, so we can start with the construction stuff sooner, but we'll see. I'm just going with our information available right now.
So do you wanna explain to the public why we have to have this income survey?
Oh yeah, of course. So Christmas Valley isn't incorporated, so there isn't specific tracked data available, because for community development block grants, you have to have at least 51% of your population in that area is low income. So they will come, and it has to be someone certified to do these surveys. There are two, I should say that too. There are two companies on the West Coast. One is in Portland and the other is in Sacramento. And Sacramento can't start until October. Their estimate is the same amount, but I don't want to delay this anymore. So if they start in October, we can't do the first application until the spring. And then the second application would be in the fall again. And so it puts the application out a whole year. So I think PSU is the best bet because we need to do this. Their water issues a
Yeah,
mess.
right.
And so we have to have this done to even qualify to get the grant.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
have to have this in place before you can submit an application. The county has to submit the application because Christmas Valley doesn't qualify. The library needs a new building, and so since we're already doing this for the water district, I said that we could do this for them too.
Yeah.
Because,
Try and combine them,
yeah.
save dollars.
Mhm. And I liked PSU because the other company said that they wanted to send their own people from California to Christmas Valley to survey them. If they don't submit the mailers at first. And I feel like PSU's approach of training a couple people that are already trusted in the community will go further in that community than some outsider asking some personal questions. They're only going to ask 3 questions and it's completely anonymous. Like each person is assigned a letter and then the person doing the survey won't know. It's put in a security envelope, completely secure from them, and then it's put in a secure box. So it'll be good. It would be best if we got input from the community as fast as possible and they didn't have to go do the door-to-door stuff, but they probably will have to do some of it.
I just think we need to really notify the public up there why we're doing this.
Yeah,
The
absolutely.
whole thing is to get them a working water system and a different library, so.
And so here's the kicker. If we have a non-response, if they won't respond to their door or the mailer or phone call, they're counted automatically as having enough income not to qualify. So it changes the average to a negative. Like, we want to be low income in that area.
So when's our next meeting up there? I know we just had one, but when is our next one?
In 3 months.
First week of June, right, is the one at Fort Rock. You
Yeah.
won't have another one in Christmas Valley for a while though.
Yeah.
I have a question
Mm-hmm.
about this. Is there a mailing list that your grant or your folks are gonna work on off of? So it might be worth taking the time to send out mailers and explain to them, there's somebody gonna come talk to you about income and whatever these 3 questions are and directly tie it to. And the only reason I say that is when I first started here, the second nuisance ordinance meeting went through
Mhm.
and that letter went to homeowners and it wasn't well received, but they got it. And they all
Yeah.
came to the meeting with the letter, so that is from my
You
perspective,
need to
I'm
kind
not,
of grease the wheels,
I'm
so to
not
speak.
tied to that at all, but I'm just saying, the public got that letter, so
Yeah.
describing
I
that
think
to
that's a
them,
great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
describing it to them might
it's a good
really
idea.
help, especially if you're tying it to the water improvement and the necessity for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we need to do a lot of engagement because we need to get these projects going as fast as possible. So if there's any hesitation, it could put us back a year.
Yeah, a letter is not a huge time consuming thing, and I've learned, especially since I've gotten this position, that in the North Lake, proactive ahead of time communication with that community is the best.
It goes a
Mhm.
long ways.
And I think what we need to do is a couple weeks before PSU comes, that we send that notification out that states, in a couple weeks, you're gonna be asked these questions and this is why you're gonna be asked these questions, and then that way it's gonna be fresh in their mind.
Well, did you see her timeline? She says May 27th is their goal to do start sending out surveys.
Mm.
I bet though, if you got what we're talking about to Erica,
Yeah.
she would get it to
Yeah,
that list.
Erica's
Yeah.
been great. Amy's been great.
Cause she's already mailing out things, the
Yeah.
bills and all
So
that
she's
stuff.
gonna put that in there. Amy's gonna get the word out. But I like your idea of sending out an additional thing because I think the more we can cover and explain how urgent this is, like the response, I think the better. I think it's worth the postage.
It might be worth even, us getting something, maybe as the commissioners throwing something in the Desert Whisper,
Mm-hmm.
getting a hold of Karen and making
And
sure that it gets out there.
Possibly.
Right.
So, yeah.
If you guys approve this.
Yeah, that's,
So,
yeah, absolutely.
Balancing
Also-
all three.
so, I'd like to use, my projects funds from 215, if you guys are okay with that.
Okay, that was my question on where we were going to get these dollars, and that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
That works, yeah.
Very, very important.
And I'm really, really happy that we could kind of combine these, because that was a concern, because the library district encompasses a different area than the water district, but they overlap.
Mhm.
And so it wasn't sure if we had to do two separate processes, but being able to combine this is really good.
It's nice, now you can use the same data,
Right.
not have to pay twice.
Yeah, well, it's gonna be broken out into areas,
Right.
but they're gonna have the same survey campaign.
Same community, different issues, but I'm really glad that we can combine the costs.
Yeah, and as we're learning about grants, they don't move fast, and then all of a sudden, we have to have certain requirements to even apply, and then that causes hiccups.
This one's gonna be a lot of work.
Yeah, this one's gonna be a big one, but we need it, so.
Alright, yeah, we can act on that tomorrow. Unless you guys wanna act, unless you wanna act on it today, do you need this
Well,
right away?
Tomorrow's fine.
Yeah.
Plus tomorrow's meeting's gonna go fast, I think.
Yeah, probably. We don't have any presentations tomorrow, do we? Okay. That always catches me off guard, because the work sessions, we don't always have the presentations, and then we have one in the regular session, or a couple of them, so. We do have a hearing tomorrow though at 10:30, so we
So
can
that's-
probably,
That's our last one.
Mm-hmm. You guys can take action tomorrow.
sounds good. Alright, yeah,
Should have mentioned this in my updates, the constructability, or I should say reconstructability for the flush bridge that we worked on for repairs will start tomorrow.
oh, okay,
How about the other bridge that we're removing on?
So I'm going to plan, Christmas Valley Highway has its challenges with traffic. We fortunately get to work on a lot of roads with very low average daily traffic. Christmas Valley Highway is not that road. Huge amounts of truck traffic, and the week after the holiday of July 4th, I previously had planned to shoot oil and continue our seal coat right through that whole week, and I'm not going to do that. We're going to pull, not the equipment, but personnel from, I'm not going to work on that road the week after the 4th of July because of all of the traffic. Considerable amount of out of state traffic. And that's the week I'm gonna rent a machine, and Kenny already took some of with his parole guys.
Yeah, I seen that.
Some of that down, the rest of it I can get with a machine, so we'll do that week.
Copy that.
right, awesome. Any liaison updates?
Got fair board meeting tonight. Not that I can think of, James.
Okay. I'm giving testimony today on Senate Bill 605, which is the fire district bill of Senator Fredericks, where he wants to basically create a process that if a fire district wants to expand their district and annex in everything 7 miles out, all they have to do is request us to do it, and we have to do it. We'll still be mandated to have the meeting or to set a process for public comment and everything, but the public comment won't necessarily have any effect as the bill is currently written. If they want it, they get it. And so it puts an additional tax burden on the population in all those other areas that are outside of the current tax, outside of the current fire district. My big issue with it, obviously, besides the ones that we've already kind of talked about as far as the taxation point without appropriate representation, which is an age-old discussion. And you'd think that we would have learned our lesson by now. But also the fact that the whole reason they're doing this, from what I can tell, is because they think the maps look confusing. And that the fire districts make no sense. They look like octopuses kind of on the map. It kind of goes out and has these big arms. Well, that's because there's a water main running out there with fire hydrants. That's because there's apparatus that they can station in these different areas and roads and neighborhoods. But they want to expand it as a block. And so you pick up these other homes and they say, you know, this has to encompass these larger areas. And I just think that's ridiculous because you're not increasing safety to homes, and you're not increasing fire protection. You're not putting additional apparatus on the road. You're not increasing infrastructure. All you're doing is taxing people additionally, and there's no requirement on the fire districts as to where they'll spend those dollars. They could spend them on salary increases for, you know, all we know. And it makes us a rubber stamp for fire districts. And none of the fire districts in Lake County thought this was a good idea, just as an FYI. Every single fire chief and fire district in Lake County that I brought this to said this is a horrible idea. And it actually flies in the face and tends to degrade the relationships that these fire districts have worked so hard to build over the years. Public loses trust.
But it's the fire districts that have the choice.
It would be the fire districts
So
that
if
have the
they
choice.
don't like it, they're not gonna make that choice.
Correct, but fire districts change, boards change, and it puts future board of commissioners in a position where we have no ability to do what the voters actually want, regardless of whatever public comment they give, yeah. So there's no appropriate process for the public, there's no appropriate process for us, and it's basically the reason this came about was a fire district in Douglas County has tried multiple times to pass an initiative and annexation of their district to expand. And it's been voted down by the voters in Douglas County multiple times, and it's failed. So they went to the Board of Commissioners in Douglas County, and the Board of Commissioners said, no way in heck are we gonna touch that. Because the people have spoken, they've said that we don't want it. So they decided, because they are unwilling to accept the fact that maybe their PR sucks, and they decided to go to the state and they asked Senator Frederick to write this bill. So Senator Frederick and I and staff from AOC met last week. We talked about some possible amendments. He's been unwilling to budge. So it is on a committee meeting today. Representative Breeze Iverson out of the north end of Lake County, she has drafted some very good amendments to the bill that if passed, it would give us the leverage and everything else. So it's just one of those bills that I just think it's just really damaging, and it's a real big problem. But hopefully they accept the amendments. If not, hopefully the bill dies in committee. So that's my update on that bill. Other than that, I imagine you're not going to be going to the AOC.
We have budget.
Yeah, so I just wanted to confirm we hadn't had a chance to talk, so. Yeah, it's Monday next week, so we've got budget, we're not going, so. Staying here, business at home. Yes.
Do you guys wanna decide what you wanna upload into Merkley's new request thing for infrastructure funding? The same three
The same, yeah.
consensus?
Wow. Cause we've sent Finley, we've sent Owens, we've sent
Right, yeah, just send the same
AOC,
three.
we've sent Leah Horner, at LIBA, and so,
And, yeah, I don't wanna change it, especially with Barry here. There's no reason to change it, our priorities haven't changed as far as that
Well, I
goes.
didn't think so, I just thought we should,
No, it's a very good point.
cause
So,
it's due,
right, you wanna send that?
I'd love to.
Great.
Awesome. Alright, with that, the time is 9:45, we will adjourn.